AJ podcast, episode 6. We have a substitute again this week. Um, I am you. I am you. I am. I am your main host, Oz, and we have our co-host.
You already introduced me at the start.
I didn't
Hey.
introduce you.
Wait!
I'm just saying the modified title. Because last week I
Fair
said
enough.
Oz and Fenris podcast.
Fair enough. AJ. I'm AJ. Hello.
And we have our guests this week. They are Hadley
Hello.
and Fenris.
I am here, and I am not queer.
Right.
and and we are sponsored today by AJ Waffles Art Commissions. If you want a nice, lovely, quality art commission, his Twitter is on the screen. Visit him at twitter.com/AJ Woofles, where you can find all the commission details there.
Is it pronounced woofles or woofless?
I thought it was Woofless, but it is Woofles.
Woofles. Okay, like waffles.
Waffles.
Except there's two O's and one F, not.
Close enough.
Anyway, and we are live now, so I can remove the "we will be live at 2000 hours." So
We are live.
this week we will be talking about location, grow. How we grew up in our locations, and how, where we grew up has given us a different taste of how, a different taste of life. For example, I was bred, and I was bred in London, so I had your Londoner life. We have variety from here, starting with obviously we've got Fenris and Fenris being brought up in the south, AJ being brought up in the north, and Hadley moving between the two. So we have a good balance here between our guests.
I just can't stay in one place.
I know. So we'll start with actually we'll start with Fenris. How was you growing? How was growing up in the South Coast? And anything particular that you note that's distinctive that you will only see from the South Coast?
Well, being raised in Portsmouth, one of the more densely populated cities in the UK. I wouldn't know how to compare it to any other city. It was okay. You can get to wherever you needed by walking or by bus if you're lazy. Everything was pretty well located. So if you wanted to go to the park, there was 2 or 3 within, a 15-20 minute walk. Schools were everywhere. My schools were, one was a 10-minute walk, and then the other one was about a half an hour walk, if that, 20 minutes. Yeah, growing up in Portsmouth, they weren't too bad. There were certain areas that you avoided because they were the rough areas. And if you know Portsmouth, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know the exact areas.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, let's not talk about those. There are certain areas you just avoid.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I do see some comparisons with living in I was going to say, a vastly more crowded area known as London, where you obviously had areas back in the 90s and early 2000s that you definitely would touch, and other areas what you definitely would be called no-no areas.
No areas.
I suppose it's one way to put it.
It's the areas I go, I'm not going over there. Screw that.
Yeah, don't touch the no-no areas.
Just don't enter the back passages of hell.
I mean, you could say that.
I mean, some people are inclined to that, and I say fair enough. I just avoid those areas and wouldn't touch them with a 10-foot barge pole. But that's just me.
I mean, to be fair, it's more like 6 miles of barge pole at this rate.
Portsmouth isn't 6 miles wide, so
True.
10 foot is about average.
True. I mean, London, I can afford 6 miles.
That's
Meanwhile,
London for you.
in stark
Anyway.
contrast, we go to the other geographic extreme that we have in the podcast, but we haven't even reached the far north yet. We'll go with we'll go with AJ. How did you get around living in shall we say North Nottinghamshire?
But I'm like, thing is, I'm mother though, so obviously that's obviously affected how I've grown up. And it's like I've lived in a village for all my life pretty much, except when I used to live in Works. So I lived in Worksop for 2 years, which is not. I wouldn't say it's the best place to go, but there's some nice areas. But Worksop in general is just no. Then like, I've lived in Sutton and what's it? And I'm currently living in Elksney now, which is a completely different village to where I've been before. But it's a village nonetheless, and it's the fact that I've grown up in just not being able to go many places other than maybe the streets, the park, maybe the shop as well. And it's like it's sort of like a small compact environment compared to what you'd live in a city. Because city you could go everywhere, whereas in a village you're very restricted to a little area. And the town as well is not necessarily accessible unless you've got a bus. If you get what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, it must be quite difficult if you had sods that lived in other towns or other villages that you basically are reliant on the car.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I can't do it. I can rarely do anything. I've tried. I wanted to go out places, but can't because I've needed a car or like, I've needed someone to take me there first. And it's that thing where, like, you messaged me at one point as well, where you said, why don't you come here or something, or why don't you just come here, or why don't you just get a train to come here? And it's like, as much as I could do that, I can't because one, I don't have a car, and two, I don't have a job as well. So having to fund the money to actually get the trains, I can't do as much. Then also getting a car, I have to ask my mum and dad to go anywhere because I can't drive yet.
Please commission him for more money.
Please, money.
But in all seriousness, though, it must also, because of how sparse everything is. I'm guessing that if you wanted, let's say, a certain thing that you can't get in your village, you'd have to go to your nearest town. And
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
a slog.
It is in a way, yeah. But it's like, what was I going to say? Oh no, I've forgotten.
Many things. You were going to say many things.
Probably. But it's like, yeah, you can't just like depending on a city where you can literally just get a train and go anywhere whenever you want. Whereas with me, I have to get a car or someone to take me because I still can't drive yet.
Fair enough. And next we can ask Hadley, how was your, I was about to say, any specific characteristics you can bring up from your upbringing, shall we say? Because
Well,
you have a variety.
I do have a variety, yes. I was born in Portsmouth, in Hampshire, on the south coast of England, and I've spent the first part of my life there, and I moved to Yorkshire when I was 7. The reason being because my dad was in the Navy, and when he left the Navy, he didn't have a job in Portsmouth. And because it was so densely populated, and the housing prices were so expensive, because it's not that far from London, really, we couldn't afford to live there, especially since only my mum was working. And my dad was originally from South Yorkshire. He was from Barnsley. So we moved to Barnsley as it's cheaper to live and we could get a bigger property for a lower price. And there was plenty of jobs in the north. So we moved here and my dad had a job my mum was working as well, we could afford a bigger property. So I spent most of my life pretty much in Barnsley. I live in a small village, not too far from Barnsley town centre, and Sheffield city centre and Rotherham town centre is like in between all three. The advantage with where I live is it's accessible. Like I had a lot of freedom, and I could go wherever I want. Like I could go to Leeds because we've got trains every half hour to Leeds, to Sheffield, to Nottingham, to Lincoln. We have a train station, so we're quite fortunate. But the best thing I think about pretty much growing up where I did in South Yorkshire is it was safe, my village, because it was away from everything yet still not too far from it. It was really safe. We could go out on our bikes, we could play out on the streets, and we wouldn't need to worry about anything. We could be back whenever we wanted, as long as it wasn't too dark. It was it was quite good.
I
You
mean,
see, with my one, I couldn't. I think the thing is with that though is like you've probably got more access to the places around you. I think we've got Sheffield and Doncaster up north from us, and then Nottingham and Derby down south, and Lincoln to us. Come on, geography. To us east. But it's like it's the difficulty getting there that our problem is. We can't. There's ways to get there, but for someone that's lived in a village
Yeah,
for all the time as well and had that upbringing, I can't go out and just go somewhere because I'm not sure what to do yet. But that's just part of it.
yeah. See, the advantage with where I live as well is there's a fair bit in walking distance. Like we've got a whole retail park within like a 20-minute walk from my front doorstep, which is quite handy, really.
Yeah, makes sense.
I mean, it does also help that there are some counties which fund and develop their rural areas and have a coherent I was about to say ticketing system for transport and
Yeah,
a coherent sorry distinctive way to be able to deal with uh, going places. Like for example, South
yeah.
Yorkshire.
All the fares in South Yorkshire are capped, so buses charge 80p one way if you're under 18, and they can't charge any more than that. They're capped at 80p, and trains are 190.
You see, it's like you've got that similarity in London, of course. I mean, there are also this. I mean, you could even advocate for like the most ridiculous situation of the whole of the southeast. That's south of London, between Hampshire and Kent, has one singular bus ticket technically. I mean, they do also have lower cost operator only tickets, but they have one like ticket that covers all of that called Discovery. So if you wanted to, let's say, go from uh, I don't know Brighton to Dover, you could by bus. Um, that's one thing certainly for about £9. Um,
That's not bad, that.
yeah. Meanwhile, I mean, in more rural areas, of course, the buses are less frequent, and you know, bus would be the main source of transport if you don't have a car, and the bus sometimes only comes once, twice, or four times a day. It's I mean, for example, like in contrast, I'm lucky. I live in London. I have I have metro. I
Man,
have
catch a manger on every street corner.
I
We
have
used we
three
used to
metro
have
stations.
we had I think my dad was telling me the other day that they actually used to be like a subway in Worksop or something like an underground area, but like now it just don't exist anymore. Apparently, I don't know about it obviously because I don't know. I've never seen it. I'm just going off with what he said, but with what we've got at Worksop, we've got a bus state. We've got bus stations right from Worksop from where I go to Retford. and back, it costs a pound to go from Retford to Oaksley on a single. That's what it is there.
I mean,
Which to me, honestly, I don't know if that's good or bad because I don't get buses often.
wait, how much did you say
A pound,
to go from?
Retford to Oaksley.
Yeah, that's actually fairly good considering it is rural bus services. The general fare in London, because I've lived in London for all but 3 years of my life, and the other 3 years were in Coventry. Um, so living in London, I have 3 metro stations, two national rail stations, although one is a metro and national rail station, all within about 15, all about 15 to 20 minutes walk away from myself. I have frequent bus services that run every night. I have I'll run every night, one every day. They it's heavy frequencies. So overall, getting to places was quite easy, and also because when you live in London, you could go anywhere you want. The fares, because most traffic nodes lead to London.
Yeah, you've got access to everywhere,
Yeah,
which is why which is why I found it quite funny when you said to me at one point, just get a train somewhere, or like just get like transport there, and it's like the reason why you're like that is because you're obviously able to do that,
yeah,
whereas I can't. You've got a lot more freedom to me compared to what I have being in an urban environment.
yeah. And living in an environment means that, obviously, as I said before, there are good places, there are bad places, but there's also one thing that does happen notably recently. For example, in places like Brixton, Croydon, especially, gentrification, where they try to improve places by basic by to the extent of sometimes knocking it completely down and rebuilding it again. They're doing it in Barnsley as well, because I
Oh,
visited there, and that happened.
While
But
we're on the subject of transport in certain areas, I've literally just seen on Facebook that, according to Portsmouth News, Hampshire is the worst or the most dangerous region in the UK for cyclists.
oh,
that sounds predictable for some reason.
Yeah. In the last year alone, Hampshire Police was called to 567 incidents where cyclists have been injured by cars while on the road, higher than any other region in the country. Country?
Country.
Country. So yeah, I thought while you're on the subject of transport in certain areas, I literally just saw that and I was like, oh, okay, I'll bring that up.
Fair dues. I mean, a lot of people in urban areas, cycling is a fairly popular mode of transport. In rural areas, cycling is an interesting form of transport. That's I mean, interesting in a very certain way because you are cycling along country lanes.
I
Shall we
mean,
not?
I can say that I've done that as well because I've done the distance from our village to um to Retford from where I live, and it's grueling if I'm honest.
Yeah, I'm just lazy and I just drive everywhere because I can.
I can't.
I'm lazy, so I just get on a bus.
It is
I,
lazy.
I find it's easier and cheaper just to drive rather than getting buses, especially buses down here.
Oh yeah, buses
It's
down there, yeah.
crazy,
I mean,
crazy expensive.
yeah,
So if you want was it a all day share pass on first buses? Last time I did that was like £7 something.
Jesus.
yes, and it's closer to £10 if you want the Gosport ferry I did.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've done it before.
I was like, if you need to do a commute every day like that, you know, say it's the £7 a day, you're doing it 5 days. £35 a week. 4 weeks, that's £100 for the month. It's crazy, the bus fares around here. Taxis, out of the question. They're ridiculously expensive now.
It can be.
They can be. Trains out of Portsmouth aren't great, so I just drive.
Makes sense, though.
I mean, there's
Like,
also they also do I'm looking at the first Portsmouth, Fareham, and Gosport website, and I see that you can buy online the first month, so they have like season tickets, £65 for Portsmouth, £48 for Waterlooville, £85 for the whole of Hampshire, and somehow £78 just for the E1, E2, X5, 10, 11, and 21.
Wow. I used to have a month pass on the trains when I was going between Fratton and Portchester. Bear in mind, it's because it goes Fratton, Hilsey, Cosham, Portchester. It's 4 stops.
Yeah.
A month pass. Would you like to hazard a guess how much that was a month?
About
And don't look it up because I know you.
120 quid.
Well, it's a bit less than that. It was about 80 quid.
A month pass. A month pass normally does about 20 something days of travel.
Yeah,
28.
but it's 4 stops. It takes 10 minutes. It's crazy how much it costs.
Yeah, some things tend to be like really excessive when it comes to money.
Don't
just
get
about-
me started on commuting into London.
Yeah, yeah.
Season tickets are about the size of South Yorkshire housing mortgages.
Yeah.
Nearly.
I mean, on the occasion when I had to go from either Emsworth or Havant to Waterloo or Victoria, it's £39 return.
Which is why when you're young, everyone. Also, when you're young, this is our advice. We'd advise you to get a rail card. 16 to 25 and 26 to 30, they exist. They're £30 a year or £70 for 3 years if you're going for the 16 to 25. We have strayed quite a tad off topic. Into
We're talking about upbringing. We're talking about
fair
our
dues,
local
but it's like
fairs.
in itself, this is its own podcast. I don't really want to do that podcast at some point.
Yeah.
Not now, but I want it whilst we've got our full contingent of guests and everything.
Yeah.
But
People don't know about. I have no clue about fares. If I'm honest, I just see something and be like, "Can I afford that? Yeah, I'll do." And I'll just get on it. I can afford it. I'll use it.
Can you afford going to Sheffield?
Can I afford to go to Sheffield? Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Wait, can how much is it? Actually, I don't know.
It's up to you. I'm asking you, not PM me later. Anyway,
Is there something secret going on in Sheffield that I don't know about?
No, I mean I don't know about it either. So
I'm just asking. Anyway,
Is there a meet in Sheffield?
totally. So I don't actually know. Anyway,
No,
Wait, did you say is there a meet in Sheffield?
there is a meet in Sheffield.
There is.
There is a meet. There is a fur meet in Sheffield,
Oh, lovely.
and apparently it only cost me about.
Well, I mean, it costs you less than what it would go to.
It costs £20 for me to go to. It costs £20 for me to go to Sheffield, and it costs £19.60 to go to Leicester. I love train tickets.
That's just absurd.
And it cost about £11 to go to Derby.
That is crazy.
It's bloody Leicester. It's not like there's anything special.
Don't sway. Also, other than transport and getting to places, actually, it's an interesting one. What would be the? This is something that I actually have to stand back from. because I'm ethnically Filipino, so I got brought up using Filipino food. But any sort of like regional food that you definitely know that you'll find in the south that you or found in the north that you guys ate as a child or growing up that you know that you won't get in the north or the south or you'll get it in London anyway. But
Oh no.
Yes.
we'll start with Hadley.
One word. Greg's.
We get
There's
it in the
hardly
south.
any in the south.
Yeah,
I've just been in the
Greg.
south for over a week, and I saw one Greg's, and it was in Plymouth.
There are more Gregs than just one in Plymouth. If you come to Portsmouth, I'm not kidding. Commercial Road in Portsmouth, which is one of the main shopping precincts, there is 3 Gregs.
They finally worked their way down there.
There's 3 Gregs within 5 minutes of each other.
Oh yeah, we have that.
I
It's
mean,
like, why?
I
Why
don't
do
know,
we need
but
3 Gregs?
what's weird about one of our local Greg's is one of them is open until 3 a.m. and they have bouncers at the door.
Greg Bouncers. That's the only place I've ever thought that you'd hear bouncers for Gregs.
So what's your occupation? Oh yeah, I'm a bouncer. What do you bounce for? Greg's.
I get paid in sausage rolls.
Yeah.
The vegan ones that no one wants to eat by the end of the day.
Yeah, bounce.
Just the leftover ones, forgotten about. The bouncers can have them.
Wow.
They'll be tackling drunks, and then they can have a sausage roll.
Disrespected.
I mean, Greg's
You just
is.
disrespected so many.
Yes, I was about to say Greg's is definitely a northern thing. It is a.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it is. It was born in Newcastle. Or if you're from the south, Newcastle.
Newcastle.
Yeah, I pronounce it Newcastle, even though I'm from the south.
I'm from North Newcastle. There you go.
And it opened its first shop in Gosforth, Newcastle upon Tyne, and eventually started buying many northern and southern bakeries. But it is quite essentially northern, and I notice in Greg's they do actually have regional products that you can only find in certain regions. I don't remember what they are, but they definitely do have regional products.
Hey.
I'm gonna search that up.
I wonder if they have the sausage, bean, and cheese melt in the south. Because my mum thinks it's dirty, but I think it's quite nice.
I know they do have.
What? Sausage, beans, and
Cheese melt.
cheese might.
We don't have that in the south. Also,
Does have that, to be fair.
apparently they have a London cheesecake.
Oh?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Egg custard tart in Midlands, Leeds, Manchester, and South West. Empire biscuit in the northeast and Scotland. Pineapple cake in Scotland. Scotch pie in Scotland and Northern Ireland. Dripping cake in the Midlands and South West. Bread pudding in in Norwich, South East and Midlands. Peach Melba in the northeast. Stotty in the northeast. The source is from the Liverpool Echo, ironically.
Oh.
But yeah, you also there's also like corned beef. Corned beef bake is definitely another one. I've had a corned beef bake. Tottenham cakes. It is. They do have a variety of things, and they do go for regional taste. That's something. I personally haven't really touched many of the delicacies per se. Except probably corned beef bake when I was up further north, because corned beef is actually quite something that I would eat. I still eat. So, yeah, Greg's is definitely a regional marker. Certainly.
Cornish pasties.
Cornish pasties are everywhere now.
Yeah, but
I remember when they used to be
actually, to be
only
fair,
in Cornwall
I don't
or in the
think
south.
no, I don't know any up here. I don't actually know any up here. I haven't seen them in a long time. I've seen them in shops with like frozen one, but if you want like a proper one, you will not find any.
Yeah, coming from someone who spends like quite a lot of the year in Cornwall and has a Cornish family, there isn't many good Cornish pasties in the north.
True. I mean, you do have
They're
the
all
Cornwall
frozen.
Pasty Company, but
They're all
they're
frozen.
but they're only slowly making their way up north.
Yeah, Gingsters.
Come on, quicker.
Oh
We want
God,
pasty.
Ginsters, no!
It's disgusting.
Why would
What?
you eat cold things
Disgusting!
from a hospital? You will find these in hospitals.
What would you eat? What?
Ginsters, Cornish pasties. Those are the sorts of things you find in a W.H. Smith in a hospital.
W.H. Smith in a hospital. Okay.
Yes, I have specifically seen those said things. I'd
Oh, no,
rather
so
have a
have I.
pot noodle from the same
I-
place.
I'd have a pot noodle.
I
I
know
like
you
a pot noodle.
I'd eat one of them any day. Bombay Bad Boy flavour.
I like that curry one.
Oh, that curry one's nice as well. This is meant to be a podcast about where we grew up.
I mean, this is it's more actually it's more like how our geographical things are sort of affected us. So it's like travel, food, these sorts of things that relate to us growing up. These are the things that we are talking about. So
Fair.
it's good. We're on and off topic at the same time.
Yeah, that's true.
And
Pot noodle, pretty
I'm
good.
thinking what sort of things we have in the south other than quinoa, avocado, hipster food. No, I don't eat hipster food. I mean, I don't eat the specific hipster food. She gave me like duck confit. Sure. Okay, that's just rich. That is just rich.
Oh.
It is literally duck cooked in duck fat. That's
I have
rich.
noticed that Pret a Manger has only just opened in the north.
Yes. Oh God, yeah. I forgot about that. Pret a Manger is one of those chains that you mainly find in the south. You sometimes find like free in a rail station. Upper crust is another one you find free in a rail station. But I think you see upper crust in most railway stations anyway. But Pret a
Yeah,
Manger
there's upper crust.
certainly. But Pret a Manger is certainly a southern thing. You get to find,
Yeah.
you know, nice. It's really nice because you have baked goods, croissants.
Yeah.
I'm already saying croissants, pan au chocolat. You kind of get the idea. Melt in the middle, praline cookies. What the Northerners will call Ponzi.
Yeah. The Northerners are very fond of their Gregs.
Yes, it's
Oh, yeah.
basically the more expensive version. The bakery stuff is quite essentially the more expensive, higher quality version of what you get in Greg's. They don't freeze their stuff. Greg's does. Think, how else do they get mass produced? The same every time. Chicken bakes, steak bakes, all those bakes, pizzas. How do they get it perfect all the time? Machines. How do they get the machines? You know, they make them in a central factory and then they put out to bakeries. And the only way to get things sorted is either freeze them or definitely refrigerated. So they're definitely pre-made.
Still tastes good to me though.
Oh yeah, it
Oh,
still
yeah.
tastes. It's still a very good cheap bite.
I don't care how
I mean, Greg's
as long
price
as it's there, it's available.
5p. Huge.
If I want something cheap and cheerful, Greg's. If I
Greg's.
want something cheerful and actually much better than Greg's in terms of taste, I go to Pret, Starbucks.
No, I avoid Starbucks.
No,
for
drink.
temple pole. I
It's cold
don't like
drink.
their drinks.
I was about to say cold drink Starbucks, hot drinks, depending on whatever you want, whether it be Nero for. Actually, no. Hot drinks depends on what you want. However, do not go for a chain. Do not go to a chain. Coffee chain. Do not go for a coffee chain for coffee because you're just going to get.
Rip off.
No, not rip off. Well, rip off, yes, but also poor quality coffee. Usually. Even though they do roast their beans at like Costa and Cafe Nero roast their beans on a specific stretch of line between Clapham Junction and Vauxhall, and all you can smell on the train when it's the non-air conditioned train is the smell of burning coffee beans. So toasting. It smells
I
toasty.
I like Costa coffee. It's what I usually go for if I have a coffee.
People have
If
their
I'm looking
preferences, I
for
say.
a decent coffee at a decent price, I usually just go to McDonald's.
See, I don't like McDonald's coffee. I don't
Oh.
think it tastes. Every time I've had a coffee, always tasted slight weird. Like someone's, messed about with the coffee. I don't know. It just doesn't taste right to me.
We actually
Yeah,
have a
tastes
McDonald's
alright.
employee.
You certainly do.
Yes. Hadley, tell us, how do they do the McDonald's coffee?
It varies in restaurants. There's two types these days. There's coffee machine or barista style. The one I work at is just coffee machine. So we put the cup on there, we select what coffee it is, done, pretty much. But a lot of newer restaurants are changing to like baristas and training people as baristas. And I don't know much about it, but it does look quite interesting. I think one day it might
Barista
change.
style coffee is so much better. There's
Yeah.
there's a group of card dealers owned by the Richmond Company, and they actually have in their showrooms
Baristas.
baristas.
That is
They'll have a
pretty
little
cool.
counter. They'll have cakes and hot. People are coming like to get their car service. They can have lunch and have coffee. And whenever I do work for Richmond Company, I always go and grab a coffee because it's really really good coffee.
That does sound quite good.
Yeah, I do
And
notice that.
if they have chocolate cake, I typically grab a slice. Remember the photo I showed to the group chat when I was working and I had that plate with the cake on it.
That's. I mean,
That was
it's.
good.
I've noticed more in the south that you get more barista coffee.
Yeah,
It's a more
yeah.
southern thing.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm not a coffee aficionado. I don't drink a lot of the stuff.
I don't drink any. I just go to coffee shops and get chocolate stuff.
Yeah, the thing I don't really drink hot chocolate. I had a hot chocolate the other day for the first time in years. We had a tub of what looked to be like rip-off Ovaltine, but it was chocolate. It was hot chocolate with like butterscotch or something. I thought I'm going to give that a try. I ended up spending the rest of the afternoon trying not to fall asleep because I was so relaxed. I was like, no, note to self, don't drink hot chocolate in the office.
Don't drink hot chocolate before driving.
I was talking about getting a thing of Ovaltine and having that before I go to sleep.
Yeah, but that's actually a sleep drink.
I know.
Ovaltine is actually from Slough, so it's a southern thing. Yeah, I don't know what the. Oh, if you want
I didn't know
geographical upbringings, dealing with Scotland, you have obviously iron brew and porridge and.
Love Iron Brew. That's such a good drink.
I heard that there's only one country on Earth where Coca-Cola isn't the most popular drink, and it's Scotland, where Iron Brew's the most popular drink.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
So good.
That sounds about right. This is why I wish we had a Scotsman here.
Yeah, that would be
Chloe-
cool.
Not Braveheart, full on
Chloe
Braveheart.
Chloe just informed me that she's never had an Iron Brew. So I'm buying one on the way home tomorrow to give to her so she can try it.
Bad news for me. Brentford are losing 1-0 to Cambridge United.
But
Half
sport?
time. Yes. I don't know why I'm giving the live score of the Brentford game here on the podcast, but
Is it football?
yes, it is.
Then shut up.
I'm the
I
host.
couldn't care less.
I'm the host. Also, one thing that's also different between when you do upbringings is whether you're in, because we are in England. All of us are in England. We had I mean, to be fair, I don't think were any of us actually like engrossed in football at all, or like were exposed to football. Like their parents supported a team or something like that.
Portsmouth's quite football heavy, with obviously Portsmouth Football Club.
Yeah.
And there's a rivalry between Portsmouth and Southampton football clubs,
Yes.
which I just don't get involved with. I don't watch football. I can't stand the sport. I'd much rather nail myself to a wall.
He'd rather be Jesus. No.
I'd probably go more extreme than.
Why did I say Jesus?
Jesus. I'm imagining a Mexican Jesus who's a carpenter.
That's perfect.
My name is Jesus. I'm the one who does the carpentry.
But
Anyway,
I know
moving
that
on.
there are some people who either listen now or listen later, or just are out there that grow up, with a parent that supports football heavily, and they get engrossed into football and start supporting a team at a young age, whether it be their local team or whether they end up being one of those people who like supporting a certain Premier League club, whatever Premier League club that's on the trend at the moment. Usually, I think at the moment it would be Manchester City is the trend. But I personally was not one of those people who brought up as a supporter of any football club, and because of that, I did not get exposed to any of how some sods were brought up with that. But I did experience my first football match as a child due to a community initiative. Ended up visiting a Brentford game, and that's how I support Brentford now. I'm sacrificing watching that Brentford game to go on this podcast. Hey, and yeah, sometimes football does affect how you are brought up, and it really depends on whether your parents are brought up in how, you know.
I know what you mean.
So yeah. Also, AJ,
Yes.
I think you're like, you're like me, where you adopted a team later on in life rather than actually was brought up around football.
I did. I started off as a Glory supporter, if I'm honest. But then again, it was the first team that I was ever open to. Which is like a bad, it's like a no-no, but it's like at the same time, it's like, there's a reason, but it's like, it's the wrong reason why.
I just realised that the first team I was exposed to was Arsenal. Technically, it's still London, so shush.
You could have gone for it, to be fair. But
Yeah.
my thing, I went straight with Manchester United. Why? Because it was a peak season. It was a peak team. They were always winning. That's
Yeah.
why I went. But then I was like, you know what? And it's like start of last season. I said, you know what? I'm going to start supporting like a local team, and me and my mates. We just got all the local teams that we could think of, and he said, pick one. And I would pick United.
Sheffield
Just
United,
start
by the way.
Yeah. And so you can't call me a Glory supporter with Sheffield because I picked him at the start of last season. People keep calling me a Glory supporter.
You can't be a Glory supporter for a Championship club.
Yes,
You really can't.
Yeah, but the reason why they're calling me a Glory supporter is because they got promoted that exact same season.
If you want to
Doesn't
be a
help
glory
my
supporter of a championship club, you are Aston Villa. I mean,
that
even
is,
Aston Villa fans are actually quite decent. I have encountered them.
my mate's an Aston Villa fan.
I have encountered Aston Villa fans on trains, and
You
they are
haven't
good
met
people.
me.
They
Luke's
invited me back
You
to their
know.
place to watch the boxing.
Ah,
That was fun.
little Ethan that you met when you came for food and that in Retford.
Yes.
He's a Notts County fan.
Oh, lovely.
Ooh, unlucky.
But
Yeah, out of everyone there, me and him are like the biggest football fans in that crew.
but yes, I mean, there's a variety of whatever team you support, you have your upbringings, your downbringings, your expectations, and sometimes you follow you follow your passion through that. Other things that you noted. Are there any hobbies that you guys have developed from your parents or your grandparents or your family that you've brought up?
We're gonna ask around
Yes,
the proverbial table.
I'll ask the proverbial circle. Start with the person who easily moves. Hadley,
Yeah.
I can't hear you. What are you doing?
Literally nothing.
I just hear moving. But anyway, Hadley, are there any sort of like things that you've picked up from your parents or your grandparents or something like that? Your relatives that you have taken down now? Any passions? Any, hobbies?
I don't even know, to be honest. I literally have no clue because personality-wise, I'm not really that much like my mum or my dad.
Any hobbies though? Like your transport stuff?
No. I'm the only one who likes transport.
Fair dues. AJ?
Yes.
Anything any like hobbies or tendencies that you get from your parents? Actually, you have a lot to say about this.
Go on.
No, I'm asking you. Any
Oh.
hobbies or tendencies that you get from your parents?
Yes. Hobbies are obviously because I just want money right now, and I do like to go out with people, but it's like I need to get a job
I was
first.
about to say anything that you got from your parents or relatives.
Hobbies in terms of that, nah, I suppose with magnets. I like to collect magnets. Like I've got a magnet board which is full of magnets, but all these magnets are just places I've been. Except the Australia one. That one I kind of cheated. I got that from grandma. But I've got a Mexico magnet. I've got like I've got two from Cos. One from Bournemouth. One from Filey. One from Menorca. And one from the Isle of Wight as well, and a couple from Spain and Benidorm, which
And
is
why
Spain.
didn't you tell me?
Why didn't I tell you?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I could have
When you
gotten
said
you
when you
something.
when you were saying magnets, I thought you meant about magnets, not fridge magnets.
Fridge magnets.
I was going to ask, do you have any neodymium iron boron magnets? Because I could do with some of them.
I wish.
So I don't even know what the first word he said was.
Neodymium.
Neodymium.
It's periodic table symbol ND.
Oh yeah.
I think it's element number 87 or 89.
Ah, we're talking higher end. Lovely.
Yeah, it's one of the rare earth metals.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm being nerdy here.
Perfect.
Nerd.
And
Chloe shouts in the background. Nerd.
Although to be fair though, AJ, I know you have more. What about your personality or your tendencies that you get from your parents?
Ah, that's right. I have my mum's look but my dad's attitude. So I am always angry when I'm not getting my own way, but that's kind of normal sometimes.
Unless I'm around.
No, that just annoys me. I can't say anything because then you get annoyed with me.
And you can't stand that.
I can't now because then you'll end up walking me around all Nottingham just so I can use the toilet.
Years.
What was it? My dad though, like with some things, I like me and my dad clash because we're the same. We've got the same sort of like mood swings. We talk very similar. He tells me not to, but I keep talking that way anyway. And it's like to us it just keeps happening. With my dad and me, we just tend to crash because we're the same. But my mum, I've got my mum's emotional state.
You worry constantly about me,
I worry constantly about everyone. I don't need to, but I do.
especially me.
Yeah.
But
Can we not? Can we not in there?
I'm just saying you especially. It's not like I
But yeah,
haven't mentioned the
you are right.
existence of you prior in in other podcasts.
But you are right, though. I do tend to stress and worry a lot about things which I just don't need to. It's
And
just I've got to have it.
I mean, actually, a good question. For me, this is the most notable thing. Um, uh, for sometimes your biggest influences can be your parents or your grandparents or whatsoever. And I think I mean personally, my biggest influence was my granddad. I'd definitely say, and he brought me because I lived near Heathrow. He brought me to Heathrow, watch planes. I'm gonna go to Heathrow, get a bus, and look at me now. I'm into transport, buses, trains, planes, and that has translated into the WLTM Transport blog, which I now run. This podcast is also sponsored by the WLTM Transport blog, covering London and the southeast nowadays. Any changes in buses, trains, and transport ongoings. We do have some posts that are lined up coming up this week. Visit the WLTM Transport blog at www.wltmtb.co.uk. I had to do that.
Yeah. No plug.
Shameless plug.
Hey, that's the other sponsor.
Well, our own sponsor.
Shh.
No one knows about the sponsors.
Give me money, please.
No, I mean this week's spot. And to be fair, no, that the influence that has given me is it means that I'm now into photography because I like taking photos of the things that I see, and then that's branched out into my photography stuff. The other fandom I have, the furry fandom, has branched off from meeting people in the transport, from in the bus and trains fandoms, and that's how I managed to be what I am in terms of my hobbies and passions, which is still predominantly why my main hobby is still trains, planes, and
Automobiles.
I wish it was. I wanted someone to interrupt me with that because that's
I wanted to earlier, but someone counter interrupted me, so I couldn't.
ah. Trains, planes, and automobiles. Automobiles, although I did watch Top Gear. Top Gear was part of my upbringing as well.
Used to watch old
yeah.
Top Gear.
I like
I
Top Gear.
still occasionally watch like old
Dave.
series, like the news. Like the news sections, you can find them on YouTube. Tom's done compilations of the news from different series.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And also, it's this. I went on the internet and I found
And I
this.
found this, and I also found this.
It's the new. And I also found this. It's the Autumn Mini podcast.
If only.
We wish, but
We wish.
obviously this week is mainly because this week is mainly the non-fur. Non-fur. We have gone for the non-fur profile picture.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes. Also, as we were going to state, we've gone through definitely a common theme. So, growing up,
We haven't talked about my hobbies and stuff.
Yeah, what about you? Actually, you are actually a specific one because you definitely got something from your dad.
Yes. Well,
Speak about it.
there's only mainly a couple of things. Cars. My dad been a car mechanic for many years. Got me into being a car mechanic initially. But that's probably soon to. Well, I'm not doing the car mechanics anymore, but I'm still into my cars. Love my cars. And music. My dad was a bass player for many years. Got me into started playing bass guitar. Inspired me to play guitar as well. Both parents inspired me to try and play the drums. I think it was drums first. Then we realised it was too noisy,
They
so I
always
went to
realise.
bass. Yeah, I went to bass guitar, and then that led on to normal guitar. So I've been doing bass guitar now for Christ, 13 years, something like that.
13 years.
13 years, on and off. I've got
2006.
Yeah, I was about 10
Yeesh.
when I started learning. They bought me my first bass.
I just realised we're both the same age, so it doesn't really make that much difference in terms
Well,
of.
yeah,
Yeah. I was thinking more for the other sods.
no, yeah, music was definitely major. Mum and dad being fans of 80s pop, so Genesis, Duran Duran, Japan, all sorts from that era.
Oh, yes.
But my earliest real memory was listening to Muse. I remember being in the car with my parents. I think we were going on holiday somewhere, and Dad had Muse's new CD at the time, 2003, which was the Origins of Symmetry album, which had songs of Newborn. Oh God, I can't remember what songs are on. But that's what really got me into music, and it's just advanced from there. I mainly listen to metal now, but that's just me.
As opposed to listening to plastic.
Plastic.
Yes, plastic.
That's what you call radio music.
Actually, that is a fair point. That is actually a good way to describe radio music. Plastic.
Comes out of the radio and it's recycled.
Yeah, a lot of
Recycled stuff.
If you think about it, a lot of popular music sounds very similar.
I can't stand. That's one thing
but a lot.
There's one thing I can't stand is music on the radios. Because when I was working in the workshops for Ford, we would have 3 or 4 different radios. 2 of them would be set on the same channel, but one would be on a delay. And then you'd have 2 other radios playing 2 different channels, but they all play the same music. So you'd hear one song, you hear the same song on a delay, and then you'll hear it on a 5 minute played on a different radio station, and then again on another radio. And they do that about 5 times a day.
That just
sounds... yeah.
That is monotonous.
I can't stand it.
That is monotonous.
It is very monotonous. So when I was working there, I had my earphones in. I was either listening to podcasts, audiobooks, or metal.
At least it wasn't Capital FM.
You'll have to repeat that because you were really quiet.
At least it wasn't Capital.
Oh, it was Capital, Heart, Radio 1, Radio 2.
I mean, most of them are owned by Global
Cheesy
Radio,
FM,
which are basically the same. So therefore, a lot of things are in the same group. I personally had to listen to Magic because I was not in control of the radio stations when I was younger. So I had to deal with basically 80s and 90s music.
I think it's 80s music. I don't mind. I quite enjoy a little bit of 80s music.
Yeah, 80s music.
Bit of Take On Me, Genesis,
Yes.
Duran Duran.
Why am I now remembering Genesis as the thing that you used to annoy Richard Hammond?
Yeah. I remember when they were talking about the Hyundai Genesis, and they were having that conversation. They go, no. Phil Collins will come back from the rear. They're like, yeah, I get that, but Richard Hammond's like, I don't know Genesis. He's just getting angry about it. It's really funny.
Of course he would. Phil Collins is actually from London.
What's that? Phil
Collins is was born. Oh wow, Phil Collins was born where I live, nearly.
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 Wow.
Phil
Well, there's
Collins
one
was basically
claim to
born
fame.
near where I was born, so that is
There you
actually
go.
yeah. So it means that London does produce a lot of great things. That
What
annoy
famous people
Richard.
came from Portsmouth?
Yeah.
None.
No, the island
Oh,
of Portsmouth
Charles
came from
Dickens.
Portsmouth.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, Chloe made a fair point. Charles Dickens.
Famous people from Portsmouth
No, sorry.
is
I was
actually
correct. I was
list
correcting
of
Chloe.
people from Portsmouth. Charles Dickens, Arthur Conan
Yeah.
Doyle.
No, wait, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's from...
Practiced as a doctor in the city and played in goal for Portsmouth Association Football Club.
Oh, no way.
Apparently, Arnold Schwarzenegger used to live in Portsmouth for a bit.
Yeah, he trained at Gold's Gym.
Lived
Portsmouth.
and trained in Gold's Gym, Portsmouth, for a short time.
I think Gold's Gym's kind of still around.
Yeah, Gold's Gym is still around. It exists as a firm, definitely. I'm looking through. There is a list of a lot of people who I don't recognise.
Isambard Kingdom Brunel was from Portsmouth.
How did you
No,
find this
yeah,
list?
Isambard Kingdom Brunel, though, is... I just searched up list of people from Portsmouth on Wikipedia.
Famous people from... From.
Form Portsmouth. So they just fill out a form.
Portsmouth, UK.
They fill out a form in Portsmouth, and then they
Okay.
add it. Bollywood
That's really
actress
interesting.
Geeta Basra was born and raised in Portsmouth. So you have
Denise
a Bollywood
Black.
actress as well.
Isambard Kingdom Brunel, yeah. Who else have we got? Charles Dickens.
But it is
Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
an interesting thing to try and find how sometimes there are, unassuming places that have famous names that come out of it.
Oh, no way. Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman's is an author.
Nice.
He's currently working with Terry Pratchett on that new show on Netflix. Hero something. I can't remember.
Ooh.
I've also listened to his book on Nordic mythology. It's really interesting.
List of people where I'm from include Kim Wilde.
Wow.
Wow.
Sounds wild.
List of people who lived here include Anton Degg.
Oh, God. I think you drew the short end of the straw there.
No, they literally live they used to live actually across the road from each other or next to each other, but now one of them lives in Fulham. But yeah,
We've also got Spike Edney, who was the fifth member of Queen.
ooh,
Philip Spike Edney. Yeah, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Which is actually quite apt because I'm listening to Stephen Fry's readings of the complete collection of Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
lovely. Oh my. Hugh Grant is from Hugh Grant was born near where I am.
God.
So I drew the long end of the straw in this sense. But yeah, it is my advice for everyone later on in life, or now. When I say later on in life, I mean like in a few minutes once this podcast is over. Go onto Wikipedia and type list of people from blank wherever you are and wherever you live. Then have a look, see what what you find, and it is quite an interesting find.
Or you can go on Twitter and search at AJ Woofless and buy my community.
Wow, I'm the one that does I'm the one that normally does the
I gotta sneak it in somehow.
You're
You
getting
gotta
into
sneak it
you're
in
getting
somehow.
into the element now of plugging.
I have nothing to plug. I could plug my Twitch, but that's about it. I don't stream on it.
To be fair, I could actually plug my own Twitch, but it's being streamed on my own Twitch.
Yeah.
It's pointless.
Because
So check out my Twitch on. Oh wait, you're already here, aren't you?
check out my Twitch.
Check out my Twitch
Well,
right now.
I will actually do a stream of the of a new OMSI add-on called the Master Switch Master Bus Gem Free add-on, built by people who I know.
OMSI. How much is OMSI these days?
20 something quid as per usual.
All right. So I'm on Steam at the moment, so I'm just being nosy.
Fair dues.
Oh, I'm looking long. Why am I searching OMSI in my live? Of course, it's not going to be on there.
No, it needs to be on there.
2711.
But
Wow, that's a lot of add-ons.
yeah, there are a lot. No, that's not enough add-ons. Have you tried Train Simulator?
No, I've been tempted to try Train Simulator.
Train Simulator is a shed load of add-ons.
So I've watched Nerdcubed play.
Oh, that's just
Train
funny.
Simulator 2013 onwards, and it's so hilarious.
You know what I find funny that Nerdcube used to be machinima.
You are lagging. I can't hear you.
I'm an internet OG. An internet. Like, ow. I've been on the internet for ages. I remember when machinima had Nerdcube.
I remember Machinima.
Oh
What a
yeah, I
stuff.
remember Machinima. I
So
also
bad.
remember MSN.
MSN Messenger. Do you remember the little animations you could send to people?
Yes. I also
And
remember.
the sound bites as well.
Oh no, I also remember. You've got mail.
You've got mail. Or the
Yes, dial-up.
of dial-up.
There are people here who are post dial-up. It feels weird.
Sky.
God.
Although to be fair,
the
knowing
paperclip.
AJ, he's still on dial-up.
No.
Oh
I
yeah.
used to have dial.
Have you know I use Discord?
You know I'm joking, clearly.
I know.
But it is a wait. Hadley, you used to have dial-up when?
When I lived in Portsmouth.
Oh, so when dial-up was genuinely the norm.
Yeah.
Not much has changed. The internet's still shit here. Sorry, it's still terrible here.
I
something
love
I'm
having to
passionate
edit the
about.
podcast later.
Sorry, I'll restart that. Nothing has changed here. The internet is still pretty terrible. I've only recently just sorted it out, and if I conduct a quick speed test, I'll let you know how it is currently. Because I used to get less than a megabit per second download,
Oh.
above a megabit per second upload, and my latency at best was about 200 milliseconds. On average, it was about 2,000 milliseconds. That's pretty terrible. But currently, I've improved it because I've added Wi-Fi extenders and an Ethernet split. I've got 22 milliseconds ping. I'm getting about, wait for it, 9.99 megabits per second download.
So
And
nearly
about
10.
4 up.
A lot better. I
It's
remember the age of
improved.
dial-up. When you say, please hang up the phone, I need to use the internet, and that sort of thing.
By the way,
Crazy.
I've just installed, I've just purchased and installing Train Simulator 2019.
I've got loads of add-ons for Train Simulator.
I remember Microsoft Train Simulator.
Train Simulator, install. How big is it? 2.9 gigs.
Yep, that's it. I know some friends who have Train Simulator installments that lead up to about 100 gigs.
Yeah. Here are the games on my Steam. Call of Duty World at War. That's for custom zombies. Counter-Strike Global Offensive, which I've been playing like mad. Euro Truck Simulator 2. Five Nights at Freddy's. Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Five Nights at Freddy's 3. Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Five Nights at Freddy's Sister Location. Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator. House Flipper.
Pizzeria Simulator.
Yeah, it's the 6th game in the installment.
Yeesh.
It's all canonical. It's fine. House Flipper. I'm going to uninstall that because that doesn't run well on this PC. It's so graphics heavy. My graphics card just goes, stop.
I love how we've strayed so far from variety of upbringings into gaming.
So Prison Architect, Team Fortress 2, now Train Simulator, and Five Nights at Freddy's Ultimate Custom Night.
Actually,
Yeah.
as you
I
got
am now.
as us guys were younger, what kinds of video games were we playing at about, let's say, 10 years ago? What kinds of video games were we playing?
What, 2009?
2009. Anyway, actually, 2005 to 2009.
Between 2005 2009, RuneScape. The early days of RuneScape, Old School RuneScape, played that 2004 to about 2009. And I've started playing that again recently, past couple of years. Halo 2, Halo 3 were about the same times. Halo 3 came out about 2006.
Yeesh.
Yeah, I think that came out 06.
I forgot how old Halo was. I always forget that.
The first one came out in 2001.
Okay, other than the first one,
The
the second one.
second one's about 2004, 2005, 2003, I think.
Yeesh.
And then the third one was 2006. But yeah, no, I played those a lot back. Racing games like Project Gotham Racing, Midtown Madness.
Midtown Madness.
I've still got a copy of Midtown Madness 3, where you can drive around Paris and Washington.
Ironically, Midtown Madness 3 is the worst one out of the lot.
Yeah, but it's so much fun to play up.
Midtown Madness 2 was the one I had. London and
I
San
remember.
Francisco. Oh god, that was so good.
Yeah.
It came default with the computer that I had a long time ago, and I thought, oh, there's this racing game. Let's see if when I install it, what will happen. Start playing it, ends up downloading buses, and ends up racing buses.
Yeah, no, in Midtown Madness 3, you could drive buses.
You can drive an
And-
ambulance, I think, and other things.
Ambulance, there was like buses, ambulances, police cars, a cement truck,
Oh,
an actual like a semi-trailer truck, anything up to your Volkswagen Beetle,
yeah, the
Renault
Beetle was
5
stable.
Renault 5 Turbo 1980 something.
Ooh.
And then I think the fastest car in the game then was the Koenigsegg CC8X, the first Koenigsegg that came out.
God, that makes me feel young and old at the same time, knowing that was in the game, and I remember it on YouTube.
And there was another car. There was a hidden car. You had to go up this ramp at phenomenal speed to get a paint can which was flying in the air. It had question marks on it. You had to collect that to get a secret car, which was even faster. It was so fast you could actually plant it through and go out of bounds of Paris. Anyway, we've strayed off topic.
We strayed slightly off topic because of the Midtown Madness. I mean, to be fair, my other games include FS 2002, FS 2004, and MSTS, BVE Train Sim, As you can tell, there is a lot of simulators. But yeah, it feels weird knowing that those were the games that we played, and now 10 years later, 10, 15 years later, some of them are just updated versions of those. Hadley,
Yeah.
oh,
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
what kind of like video games that you played between like 2005 and 2009?
Anything Sonic.
Ooh,
Literally anything Sonic.
I think the only Sonic game I really played was Sonic Heroes.
I used to play quite a lot of them. My favourite one, still to this day, is Sonic Generations.
Yeah, so I'm never big Sonic fan. I think with the first generation, like the PlayStation, I was playing Worms, Tomb Raider, and Doom.
Yeah. I used to have a Mega Drive though.
Yeah, I've never had a Mega Drive. I've never really had. Never had an NES or an SNES.
GameCube?
Never had a GameCube.
I didn't have a GameCube.
The only Nintendo stuff I had was a Game Boy Advanced SP,
Same.
the flip out.
Yes, exactly the same. I had one.
I think mine was silver with the tribal on it.
I had silver. No. I had silver definitely.
Game Boy
Remember
Color.
buying it from Toys R Us?
Yeah, I think we got one from Toys R Us. A Game Boy Color, which, funnily enough, I still have around somewhere. I have a purple Game Boy Color, which still works.
I have a PSP, the original.
I've got
I used to have
an
a
original PSP.
I
I don't
actually
really.
had two. One I bought from a second-hand shop in the United States. That became very badly damaged in terms of software. So I bought a new PSP from, shall we say, Best Buy in the United States.
Yeah.
It was blue. And
we had a Nintendo Wii. I think everyone everyone had a Nintendo Wii. It had that Wii Sports
at some
Oh, yeah.
point.
at some point.
I ended up
Many
throwing a
people
remote
use
at
it as a
the TV.
doorstop. Continue. What were you saying?
As I said, I ended up throwing a Wii remote at the TV when playing bowling.
And you broke the TV?
No, it just bounced straight off it.
Ah, lucky.
It bounced off the TV and hit you, broke you.
No, it just hit the floor.
When
I
we
remember
hits the fan.
when... No, I remember trying to go pro. I remember trying to go pro on every sport on Wii Sports. I think I did them all except golf. That's how sad I was.
Aww.
And funny enough, this morning I was watching someone on YouTube raging whilst playing Wii Sports. I'm gonna have to find that video because that was really funny. And also, I'll send you a link. Find it.
In the meantime, so we covered gaming, we covered things. So, as I was thinking, geographically, how does your I'd say this is specific to Hadley. What do you prefer dealing with the personalities between the personality of someone from the north and personality of someone from the south, the culture personality? You know, like for example, how friendly they are, how approachable.
Yeah. This is quite a good question because I spent quite a lot of the south still, especially the southwest, because my family are all from there, or most of my family anyway. In the north, people are a lot more down to earth and generally more friendly. But in the south, in more rural areas, people are more friendly. Like in the north, people are more friendly in cities,
Yes.
as in the south, people are more friendly out of cities. So that's quite a big difference there, and it's quite hard to explain. Like, if I was to make friends with someone from the north or the south, I'd probably get along with someone from the north better, only because, well, I live pretty much like a northerner these days because I've lived in America for quite a while. I like how down to earth they are. A lot of northern people, put it as best as I can, do not care about a lot of stuff. Like if someone's being funny out and about, like trying to skip a queue or something in a shop, someone in the north is more likely to say, "Oi, I was in this queue." So I felt like that.
I've certainly noticed because where I'm from the south, with my job, I've travelled nearly all over the country, and I found the further north you go, the friendlier everyone is.
Yes.
I've been as far north as Kendal, which is
Lake
just
District.
before the
Like,
borders of Scotland,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and if you once you go past London, everyone's so friendly.
Yeah. I
I mean,
mean,
I've
ignore the Midlands.
no, Midlands is
Some
much more friendly than the
parts.
south.
yeah.
If you avoid like maybe Birmingham and Coventry, Coventry's pretty nice actually, but yeah, if you avoid Birmingham,
Yeah.
everywhere else seems to be pretty friendly. Cambridge, been to Peterborough. Uh, I've been to a lot of places, and everyone seems friendlier than the south. In the south, like the thing is, on like public transport in the north, I don't know if you can confirm this for me, Hadley. Uh, People tend to say good morning to each other on public transport. Is that a fair
Yeah,
assumption?
they do, yeah.
It's
Like,
also
Down
where I work
south,
yeah.
as well. Where I work
down
as well,
south,
a lot of customers are
yeah,
more friendly.
yeah. The customers and people that work in the shops are more friendly. Down south, if you say good morning to someone, they might just give you an evil look or might try and stab you.
They will look at you like as if you shot their mother.
Yeah, exactly. They look at you and go, "Why are you talking to me, you peasant?"
This seriously happens in London.
Yeah,
Although
London
although
isn't
there
great.
are some, everyone thinks that London is completely cold. No, if you go onto certain places like like a regular quote unquote a regular bus or a small like a smaller sort of towny place, people say hello and good morning to everyone and stuff like that. It's more the smaller the place sort of is, like certain suburbs in London are quite small, the closer the community will be. So, which is why in London and in other large cities, everyone's called a more quote unquote cold because there's a lot more people, and you're more likely to not know anyone really. You can
Yeah,
go around
Yeah,
London and walk around London and you're anonymous. If you walk around, like for example, I went when I went to up to York to South Yorkshire. Um, people were fairly nice, and one of them asked me, "Oh, has the bus come yet?" So it's like people are a lot more approachable. The further north you are, this is a general thing, not necessarily how it always is. Um, until you reach Scotland, and then it becomes a whole kettle of
I
fish.
yeah, I haven't been to Scotland yet. Intrigued to see what Scotland's like. I was
I
almost
have.
drafted into doing a job in Scotland Friday night and Saturday of this week, but I can't because my fiance is graduating this weekend, so I kind of have to be there for that.
Yeah, you kind of have to be there.
So instead, on Saturday, I'm gonna try and go to Brumfurs because I haven't been in about 6 months plus.
Or you could go to the Meet and Explore in London.
No, I'm avoiding London like the plague. I'll go to Birmingham.
even though it's me, Minnie, Finn.
I'm still going to Birmingham. Made my
Fair
mind up
dues.
now.
Say hi to people who I remember. I've not been there for so long.
Thing is, I wanted to go to a London meet, and I went on the London Telegram server, and it's so hectic.
I
I was
can't
like,
do it.
nah,
I don't
I,
touch
I, I can't do it.
the London First Telegram. By the way, well, I wasn't talking about London First itself. London First happened last week.
No, I know.
Yeah,
But you were saying about London and being in London. I thought I'd
yeah.
bring up my experience with London first. Yeah, not yet. Anyway, moving on.
Moving on, and hopefully it works. Um, and I think with that we've reached I think we're reaching towards the end of the podcast.
That's fine. I've got to
Is there
get up
anything else?
early because I'm going to Kensington.
Hey, I'm going to White City.
What's White City?
It's Shepherd's Bush.
No.
Kensington.
Yes.
Just slightly west.
All right.
When I say slightly west, I mean it's the next place.
All right. No, yeah, we're in Kensington. W8
Ooh.
in Kensington, so that'll be interesting.
Actually, just as a thought, anything else that you guys want to add before we go? We'll start with Hadley. Anything else you want to add about how your upbringing was and how it's different between the north and the south and so forth?
No. Yeah, there's another weird thing, right? Well, I was mentioning a location of where I am. It's countryside all around my village. But I'm like 10 minutes from big cities, and I'm like 10 minutes from a big shopping centre. I'm 10 minutes from Meadow Hall, so it's fully staffed with security and all that, and it's enclosed, and it's fairly safe. So that might be why kids around here have a little bit more freedom to go out with their friends, say, shopping.
Fair dues. I mean, the big shopping centres big shopping centres we have that are comparable to Meadowhall are Westfield London, White City, Westfield Stratford, very 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 busy, Blue Water, Lakeside.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the main ones here. So I mean, there's multiple obviously here around here, but obviously Westfield has more of the high-end shops and the Waitrose.
Yep.
Actually, another thing that's definitely different, Waitrose. There aren't as many in the north.
There is one in my area, and it's in
One.
Sheffield city centre. That's
One.
literally the only one around here.
Yeah,
Where my grandma lives, they're everywhere.
yeah, where I live, they're pretty much the main source of that and M&S Simply Food are like
Oh, we
my
have quite a
main
few
food.
M&S Simply Food round. There's quite a few. There's
Yeah.
one near where I
Fenris, actually, as you travel across the country, do you notice your the Waitrose numbers diminishing as you go further north?
Yeah, I do tend to notice that. So the only place I really see Waitrose is service stations. Tend to see a lot of service stations, to be fair. Don't really get to explore the towns that often, but yeah. London's probably the worst for Waitrose. There is a lot.
You mean the best?
Yeah.
It's like a good, like the more north you get, the less Waitrose you get, but the more Morrison's you get.
Yes, that is definitely how it is. The only reason why Morrison's is in the south is because they bought Summerfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why. Otherwise, Morrison's is just a northern staple. Like how Waitrose is a southern staple. You don't really see them intertwine until recently when Waitrose starts expanding and Morrison's just decides, Ayo, we'll buy Summerfield.
Every time I hear Summerfield, I just think of Hot Fuzz.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hot
yeah.
Fuzz. Gunfights in Summerfields.
Yeah.
I actually have a question for Fenris, definitely. Do you remember
Okay.
the shop index?
No.
It's
Interesting.
the
No.
Littlewoods version of Argos. Do you remember
Index shop.
Littlewoods?
Do I remember what?
Littlewoods.
I remember.
I remember Littlewoods. I don't remember Index. Oh, I'm looking him up on Wikipedia. No, I don't remember Index.
You have to type in shop direct in order to get the index thing.
Yeah. No. I searched in Index retail. Many Index stores were attached to Littlewood stores. It was well-known retail in the 80s and 90s, but after sales began to decline in 2000s, its popularity became disputable and it started losing many customers to its rival Argos.
Yes,
Interesting.
it's the Argos. It's the Littlewoods version of Argos until it was bought by Argos.
Yeah.
So yeah, it feels weird knowing that Argos is a very unique concept to the UK.
It's still a good shop though.
Yeah.
It literally has. If you need something, check us. They probably have it. And it's probably in stock. And they're reasonably priced, and it's really easy to get a hold of the things you want. Or as Bill and you get the catalogue, or as Bill Bailey calls it, the laminated book of dreams.
Or as you can call it, the paperweight and book stand.
Yeah.
Oh, the good old Argos catalogue.
Yeah. And you're punching the numbers on the thing, and it tells you exactly how many there is. If there isn't any, then basically give up. But if they have it in stock, you write up the little slip with the tiny pencil, give it to the warden, and they check it, and you
You
pay
just have
for
to
it.
steal the tiny pencil
also
after.
Order number 364 to your collection point, please.
I just realised Argos is just the most depressing bingo, because your number gets called for things that
Number
you've
gets called.
already won.
You haven't won, you paid for it.
Exactly. That's
It's
why
like
it's so
fast
depressing.
food for shopping.
Order number 364 to your collection point, please. Although if you've noticed, they now have screens. They have updated recently.
I know, but it feels weird knowing that you just remember that it is quite essential. It's either like the most depressing bingo, or it's like when you're queuing up for the till, and then they give you obviously it shows cashier number 4, please.
Cashier number 5,
Oh,
please.
yeah.
That's like Sheffield train station.
Paddington is actually quite notable for that as well. But it's weird now how Argos's parent is Sainsbury's.
Not many of them in the north either.
I didn't realise that. I thought there were more Sainsbury's in the north. I mean, not as bad as, shall we say, Waitrose, but you know what I mean. I was I'm thinking more. It's the Tesco's and Asda's in further north, and then you have the Sainsbury's further south.
Yeah. Sainsbury's, you don't get that many north of Sheffield.
True, although I think I've been to a Sainsbury's local in Newcastle, something like that. So it's not too
Yeah,
bad.
there's some Sainsbury's locals.
Oh wow. I'm looking at the Sainsbury's Wikipedia page, and it just says "Making Sainsbury's Great Again." Make Sainsbury's great again.
Build a wall between Sainsbury's and Tesco.
I mean, we've gone skewed far off topic. I mean,
Yeah.
actually, talking of which now, Fenris, anything else you want to add to, what we've done today?
Well, say my upbringing was not majorly different to everyone else's. Brought up in a major city, everything was convenient. Actual childhood raising was another story within itself. But I'm now no longer living in the major city. I'm living in a little village or borough, technically, just outside of Portsmouth, and it's really nice. It's pretty nice and quiet around here. I'm 10 minutes from where I work, so I can't complain. And everything is fairly local. I've got an Asda, a big Asda, literally just on the corner. It's easy enough to get to. Not easy to get out of, but it's easy to get to.
Is that the one what used to have that Daisy the cow?
You cut out there. What was that?
There was an Asda in Portsmouth. I forgot which one it was now. And at the back, they had this thing called Daisy the cow, and it was a big plastic cow, and you press the button,
No,
and it used to move.
Yeah, I remember that. It's not that one. It's the bigger one, near the B&Q,
Yeah,
near Lee Park.
yeah.
Yeah, that one. That's basically on the corner of my road.
Yeah, I used to live near Fratton.
Yeah, you cut out again.
Near Fratton, he used to live.
Oh, near Fratton. Yeah, I know which one. Yeah, I know about. Yeah. God, I used to. I lived the little boroughs of Portsmouth. I lived in Copner, Hilsey, North End, and Southsea.
Yeah, I lived in Southsea as well.
I know Portsmouth pretty much off the back end, and I wish I could wash it off, but I can't.
It's been a while since I left.
There's seawater for that.
It's not strong enough. I might just get some hydrogen peroxide. Don't use it at work.
Nah, just sink. No, don't sink the Gosport ferry. I use it. I've used it both times that I've been there.
Anyway, any more closing remarks?
I mean, in my case, it's where we have lived has been has influenced how we're brought up, how we get around places, how we perceive the world, and how we have where our supermarkets are. Our people have geographically our people can influence our hobbies. For example, because I live near Heathrow, it helped living near Heathrow in order to allow me to watch planes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And overall, it has been it's been quite good, just knowing how listening and experiencing how our upbringings are different because of where we've lived, and how we perceive the world has changed just because of where we are, and our perception of how expensive food is.
Yeah, that's true.
Especially knowing that Pretz are all over the south and Greggs are all over the north.
And south.
Yes, that too, but mainly London.
There is Greggs everywhere.
There's Greggs just everywhere.
I actually had Greggs for lunch today, whilst I was in Christchurch.
I had Novotel breakfast for lunch.
Did you stay in a Novotel?
No, it was a too good to go thing.
Oh.
And certainly, I got there by bus, and with all these buses, you have to have someone who covers any of the changes that happen in London's buses. This will be supplied by the WLTM Transport blog, who has covered London and the South East for transport and transport changes and new and interesting things in transport for the past 7 years. Visit them at www.wltmtb.co.uk.
The subtle plug.
that was a really good segue. I mean, would you like to know what I'm handing over this week?
A Mars bar.
No, it's let me get it. It is Metcalf's Skinny Popcorn Sweet and Salt.
Oh, lovely.
Perfect to share. Although because I am sitting in my bedroom, I'm the only one who has that.
I'm sharing with myself.
Yes, I'm sharing myself.
Me, myself, and
I. We are also sponsored by AJ Wolfell's Art Commissions. Visit him on twitter.com/AJ Woofles. That's AJWOOFLESS. And he provides very good quality art for commission, especially furry art, most specifically. But he does very good art. Commission him, please. And on that bombshell, we give thanks to AJ, who had to go earlier. Unfortunately, he's the co-host. So I did my own hosting towards the end. We give thanks to Fenris.
thank you for letting me be on again.
Lovely. We thank you for existing here. And we give
I was
thanks...
going to say thank you for existing.
Oh yeah, that too. But and we also give thanks to Hadley.
Thank you for having me.
And because my co-host isn't on the podcast at the moment, I have to give thanks to myself. So thank you, Oz, for hosting.
Thank you, myself, for hosting.
Visit the two sponsors we've got today, and especially the WLTM Transport Blog, www.wltmtv.co.uk, and AJ Wolfell's Art Commissions, twitter.com @AJ Wolfels. And we bid you a good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.